piece of shit.
Some look up to falsighted when they worship clocks. I'm still working lots, low down with Birkenstocks. Actions I put in play when the verses stop. Who's more addicted, the fiend or who's serving rocks? How would a learning stop? They judging verses in the court or the black square, still us versus cops. Hey yo, I got plans, secure digits like watch bands. On the clock like clock hands. You got yes men and not fans. Assassinate your character, pop bands. Life is TikTok, like a pop dance. I want a single bitch watch if you ain't got bands. We don't need your life story, it's best for summarizing. Even though some tired, some are rising. We at a point where the numbers lying and some are buying. But bitches don't mean work and none are trying. Good enough, ain't good enough. So I strive to excel when I could've stuck. You can quit while you struggle or you could adjust. But good enough isn't good enough. Dope is what you got from Lulu. Hating for mankind, how I sock it to you. Calling shots, run an army like Shaka Zulu.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Lew. Chilling back in the West Side, back room. That was my boy Baby Astro. He's dropping his that album False Idol. Drops Saturday. He's gonna be doing a party at Reggae Bar. It's gonna come out a little. The show's already gonna happen by the time this comes out. But what up, baby? A shit. August 18, 2022. It's 83 degrees outside. Feels great. Sitting with my boy Denman, Chris Denman. How you been, man? You been well?
I've been super well, man. Just making things happen.
And his wife's chilling too. She might come in a little bit later. So what you been up to, man?
Man, I'm just trying to bust out this van thing.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. So you got this van. I like how I like seeing videos like that of people like doing projects. I got a friend in Hawaii, Mike Fowler. He's building a house, and it's cool like seeing him do everything, like install the solar panels, start the car.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that stuff that gets to me too. I really enjoy seeing people put effort into what it is that they want to accomplish.
I like seeing the progression.
Absolutely, because you know that there's a person behind it.
Yeah, like there's yeah.
You know, there's
like a real person.
A real person with real time and other things going on, because nobody can give all their time to a project no matter how much they want to. They got, you know, real life happening every day, you know? So seeing progression is cool, because you know that people are circumnavigating those particular issues that come up with life.
Yeah, man, I just got through with this remodel here. I'm happy I'm done. It was killing me. It felt like 5 months, but it was only a month. This is the first time I recorded in like a month as well. Like kind of took some time off to, you know, get everything done right.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, man. I've had to cancel and reschedule a bunch of things, but I'm finally getting back to some kind of schedule, so that's what's up. I'm happy to be back in this room. Like, it's been like 2.5 months since I've recorded in this room. I went to a little studio space. It didn't work out. And when I came back here, we were recording in the living room.
Yeah, I mean, I had talked to you like offline about it, and you're like, hey, this is my thing. Like, this is how I find some kind of semblance of peace.
Yeah.
And so being away from it had to have been a little bit chaotic for you.
Yeah. You know, my other vices take control after you know, things like that. You just got to get a grip on everything. Because that's what life is, right? Just having a grip on all the bullshit that gets thrown your way.
Absolutely. Figuring it out. Just like, oh man, I didn't need that today. Yeah, but
yo, that's a really good way to like look at things instead of getting too pissed off. Just like, I didn't need that.
Yeah, I mean, like last night with the whole interaction that I had with Homeboy, you know, after we walked into the restaurant, when that was done, these cats, they were like, man, we had a front row seat. They were sitting there eating, and they watched the whole fight go down and everything.
Well, not everyone knows what happened. Like, what happened?
Oh man, this dude got pissed off that I was taking photos of a car wreck, and he got at me. And whenever things got slightly de-escalated, my wife said something to him, and he popped off and grabbed her. And I put hands on the dude, and we finished it up, you know. And then it was a whole weird scenario, man. Just super weird. Angry drunk dude that just put his face in the wrong pie. you know. But when we walked in after all that, these kids, they were like maybe 20 years old. They were all excited. They were like, man, we got a front row seat. And my mom looked at me and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, man, it's just another day for me. And they looked at me like, what? And it's like, nah, I'm done. Like, that's done. I'm just here to eat, man. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, well, that happened. Next. You know, so like we were saying, when things get thrown at you, it's like, you can't sit and stress on it. You know, I mean, dude got mad. He made a mistake. We rectified the situation. And then everything was cool after. Nobody got seriously hurt. Nobody went to jail.
And then you got your enchiladas.
And I got my enchiladas, man. That's all that mattered.
So what do you like shooting?
Everything, man. Like life. Life is the craziest thing that everybody does. And everybody does it every day differently. So getting out on the streets, I love street photography. It's its own vibe. It's its own thing. And every city is different. Like every city has its own breath and pace and music, food. And so everybody has a different swag in a different space. And in a space like San Antonio that's so big, you can go from one side to another and it feels like a whole different city.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a real, like, visceral experience to even just walk around and watch without even taking photos, and you see people struggle or you see people win, you know, and one of the things that gets me going really hard in this life is stories. I have a bunch of my own, but hearing other people's stories, whenever you stop for a second and you go, man, that happened to you? Because you can't fathom it.
Yeah.
You know, because you never lived it. It didn't even cross your mind that could happen to somebody. And you're like, holy crap, man. Like, what the fuck? And then it becomes exponentially more intriguing, you know, and you're like, well, now I need to know more. How did you get to that place? Or what? Because obviously other roads led to this pinnacle of whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's a lot of times that when you're out on the streets, you can see that unfolding. You can see somebody's life hit a pinnacle of a moment. Whether you see somebody getting married. I've seen so many weddings. It's boring, you know. But I even laugh with her because I'm like, well, you know, hopefully somebody will take pictures at your divorce too. You know what I mean? Because the rates are so high. It's really radical. So I don't get like super excited about weddings, but I know people are having what should be one of the premier days of their existence. Yeah. You know, so I'm excited for that. But then in a city like San Antonio, especially downtown, you could see a wedding happen, and then you could turn around and you could watch a guy picking through the garbage.
Yeah. Well, and
you're like, wow, man, what a contrast of existence, you know. So the stories is what gets me. I mean, I love shooting anything. I'll shoot portraits, like sitting with you, but I do it the way that when we sat, that's my favorite way to do it.
Yo, I like that. That was real, like, comfortable. It was real calm. We just sat there. We just talked, like, got to know each other. And, like,
that's the best way, man. Like, instead of sitting there and trying to get somebody to pull off an image, you get somebody to be themselves, and you get all the images. Instead of trying to create that thing, they give it to you, because when somebody's being their authentic self and they're authentically comfortable with you, there's no barrier.
Yeah.
All that bullshit's dropped. Those are some of my favorite portraits I've done because they're real. You know, it goes through serious, through laughing, through everything, because the tempo of conversation and the point of conversation changes. And so you get a lot going on with that individual, and you just get a little bit more of a connection. You know, like I was saying, those holy shit moments when we were talking and you telling me some stories, I was like, what the fuck? You know, and that's my thing, you know? I mean, and then I know, and you know, and then the image tells.
Yeah.
And so people might not get the whole story, but they get that. And that's what I like to produce, and that's what I like to show people is like, this is this person giving me a piece of their time and a piece of who they are, and you do with it what you will when you look at it. And most of the time people are like, these are crazy good. I'm like, thanks, man.
Well, bro, I loved how those images came out. They just came out super crisp. Like, yeah, man, it was definitely a good time.
I'm glad that you came out. It was one of those moments where it's like, I'm trying to learn how to incorporate my speech with other people, comfortability, openness, and still release a shudder. You know, it's like a serious juggling act to not pay attention to my kit as much, because in essence, you're there for the person. You know, that's what it comes down to. And so, to me, the photography is the point, but it's also secondary. The entire experience is a connection between two people.
Yeah.
And so that's what matters most to me. So if I take 2 or 3 minutes at a time between shots without looking at my gear, without anything, it's just going to transition well. You know, and so like the set that I've did with you and a few other really rad people that I know that were like, I'll come sit with you. It's like, for whatever reason, just getting that buried or to drop, man. It's like, it's everything.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
It's coming along, you know.
So you got this van.
Oh yeah, man, the van. So yeah, that's been its own super incredible thing, man. Like,
so if they want to follow the van page, how do they follow the van page?
oh, that's what is that? Vagabond travel photo. Yeah.
You spell that out?
Vagabond, VAGABOND.travel.photo.
There you go. If you want to see Denman's adventures.
Yeah, right now
van.
it's a bunch of progression videos, and then the intent is to show how we started, getting that built up, and then from there, when we get on the road, the content should transition back to adventuring and literally being a vagabond, you know, just driving around wherever I want to go, parking wherever, and then just trying to snap amazing photos and get the feel, and then roll on, you know.
So where's the first stop you're going to go?
From here, we're going to travel lightly. We're going to go up to Austin, see a good buddy of mine that's been a real positive aspect of my existence the last couple of years. I'm going to kick it off, and from there back to I-10, go check out Houston and drop down into Galveston, check that area out, and then slowly make my way across to South Florida. Yeah.
Good old I-10.
Yeah, I-10 all the way to 95. Yeah, so it's like two major highways. It's crazy. And then when you get on to 95 and start heading south, it's literally another 7 hours just in Florida.
Yeah. I've done the drive down to Miami before, and man, like, you think Texas is long, Florida's long if you're going from like north to south.
Absolutely, and we've done it before where we drove all the way across the Panhandle to Jacksonville and then south, and then when we were leaving, we cut across to the other side, stopped and saw some of my Army brothers, and then went back up. It doesn't matter what side you take. You think everybody's like, oh, this other side's a little bit faster, and I'm like, I think that's an illusion. I think y'all are kidding yourself. Y'all are hoping that it feels a little faster, but I mean, the whole plan is to take it because I've driven them. Like, my dad's lived down there a lot, so when I was stationed up in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, I would do it.
Hey, that's where my mom went to basic.
Yeah, it's a gnarly place, man. It's super wild. And it's a 13-hour drive from there to Fort Lauderdale. So I would just hoof it because I just want to hang out.
Yeah.
You know? And so the same when we were living in Louisiana, and my dad was like, come down for Christmas. Did the same thing, just power hoofed it. I went with my dad in October.
Are any of y'all from San Antonio?
I wasn't born here, no.
No?
No, she was born in the Valley. I was born in deep East Texas, Orange, the last city on I-10 before you hit Louisiana. Yeah, the swampy swamps. Whole different vibe over there.
I always like how, like, when you're going on I-10 down there, like, You just see those phones like every other mile.
Yeah, yeah. It's I like going across Texas. The way that it changes, being that it's so big and the temperate zones and everything, like the climate's different. It's like traveling across multiple countries.
Yeah.
You're just like, man.
Well, I mean, we are the size of small countries.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. I mean, I think Iraq. When I looked at Iraq and I was going there, I think it's only like 10% bigger than Texas. And you think like you're thinking countries, and then you're like, oh yeah, man. But I mean, when you look at the structure of America, it's the United States. A state is a country, technically.
Oh, yeah.
And so, whenever you have the United States, it's a united series of countries. That's why they have state laws, and then we have the federal laws that oversees everybody since we're united. So, a lot of these states are rather large, country-sized individuals. And it's like when you start like looking at the way that our country is put together and functions, it's fairly interesting.
Yeah, we took the best part of the continent, I think. It's not too cold, not too hot.
Yeah, and it's.
I mean, for the most part of America,
and it's geologically eclectic. I mean, a lot of people like, oh, I want to travel to Europe and stuff. And it's like, okay, but I mean, you should travel this country too. That's part of the reason why I want to do this adventure with this van is there's so much eclectic geology here. Like you got the Grand Canyon, and I mean that's tried and true, been kind of overdone, but to see it.
And I remember when I saw the Grand Canyon, the only thing I could think was, man, so this is where Will Smith killed all those aliens?
Yeah, I've had an army brother who was like, man, I went there and you're looking at a giant crack. I mean, it's cool for a moment, but then you're like, all right, hop back in the car and go.
I trekked across Oregon one time from like Boise, Idaho to Portland, Oregon.
Oh, wow.
And like, my family's from out there. And it starts real flat. Looks like Napoleon Dynamite. And then it just like, you turn, super high trees, waterfall. Like, Oregon's beautiful.
Yeah, that's one of the places I want to go. I got a lot of friends that I've made through photography on the internet, and I have a bunch of people that I was in the military with that are up in that region. And they're like, dude, you dig it. You need to come up here. And I really, like, again, adventure, just to go see things that I haven't seen. There's, like, we looked up the whole route, the Western Seaboard, the one.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do that, I mean, I've heard about it. I've seen it in shows, and everybody that's done it that I know, they're like, hey, no photo, no video, no nothing will actually give you the grandeur, the feeling of driving on a cliff right next to the ocean. It's like, cool, man. I mean, I'm down. I'm super down. I've done everything I'm supposed to do as a young adult, and now at this point in my life, I'm like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, not what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean?
And of course, I mean, we got to do what we want to do because, I mean, we're not going to be here forever.
No, and then the whole scam of work till you're 63, destroy your body and become dependent on pharmaceuticals to get up out of bed and to deal with the psychological attack that is working until you're 63, and then you might be able to get to go on into your golden years and enjoy them. And it's like, how am I supposed to enjoy them? I'm 41, jumped out of airplanes, and I got bad back and hips. I couldn't imagine waiting until I was in my 60s to try to get out on the road or fly a lot and stuff. And it's like, I'm not jiving with the gig anymore, and it's like, I did what I'm supposed to do. I got everything pretty much under control where I can make this happen, even if it's tight, and then so I would rather live tight and do what I want to do than get up every day and do shit that I don't want to do.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I definitely feel you. I had this job for a long time that I hated. Blah, blah, blah. Transportation. This is Lewis. May I have your child's Medicaid ID number, please? Like, I still remember the fucking script. I hated that call center vibe. It was just... I was happy to leave that spot.
That's a soul sucking
Yeah,
idea, right?
yeah.
That you're happy when you get to leave a place. You're
Yeah.
you know, and
It's like you're sitting there doing your 8 to 5 duties, and 4:45 you get an email. Oh, everyone has to stay 45 minutes late.
like, no,
And
man,
it's just
what are you
like,
talking about? Yeah, like, my time's valuable to me, and everybody should. I think that everybody should have more of their own time. The way that the country works now, the way that the world works, I mean, everybody should have more of their own time, and it seems like people have less time. And it's not just because of work. I mean, so many people spend so much time scrolling now. And it's like you get sucked into this imaginary world where everybody seems to have a better life than you. And it's like, man, nah, learn how to post and go. Hey, drop a little bit of art, drop a little bit of knowledge, say hey to some people, and then bounce out.
Don't stay stuck.
Don't stay stuck, man. It's a battle.
I always find myself like watching a movie, also like just looking through that.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, it's easy to feel like, at least I have this. But then what? I mean, what is this? Looking at other people pretend. And it's like, so get out there and meet people, do things, make art, and I mean, if art's not your jive, then figure out what is. I don't think that enough people have the time to actually dive in to the things that make them feel like them, and so everybody's walking around.
A lot of people don't know who they are.
No, exactly. They don't have to, they didn't get to figure out that, man, I really like base jumping, or I really like sailing. They don't even know that they like sailing because they've never been on a fucking boat yet, and people just get so stuck in this, I mean, it's cliche, but it is a rat race. It's a super rat race. They dangle the cheese and you think that's it. That's the end all be all thing. I got to go after this.
So a question off subject. Did you ever make it into Lone Star?
Oh, yeah, several times. Yeah, it worked out. A buddy of mine that had been in there a couple of times showed me how to get in there and do that whole gig, and we had a great time.
Did you do the one where you push the fence?
No, there is like a fucking man-sized hole in the fence. Like
there was holes. There was spots
somebody
where you would just like push a fence.
Yeah, one time I went and they had kind of layered fence, but one side of it had been, unceremoniously undone. But it was cool. I've gotten some amazing shots in there. I posted a photo today, and a guy was like, "Whoa," because I had laid out on the train tracks while the train was passing, and I was super gnarly close to it. And he was like, "Wait, were you doing that while the train was?" Yeah, man. And I told him, "Don't think that felt good." Maybe 3 feet from the rolling wheels. Yeah, I was laying in the gravel, and then I extended my arms out.
See you?
No, the engine had already passed, and then I ran out there and laid down and got some shots, and I don't feel comfortable doing it, but also there's something about going after what you want.
Yeah, man, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Like, I know in Lone Star, I did some pretty sketchy shit in there. Like, you would go in this one room, and it's super, super big inside. You know what I mean? Like, just super big, wide open. 3 stories up, see like the little
catwalks with no handrails. Yeah, that one sketched me out, man.
I wouldn't go in there at night.
I wouldn't do that at night.
I fell in a hole one time when I was there.
Oh man, that would that's nightmare fuel.
Yeah, man. It was scary. For 30 seconds, I thought I was gonna die.
That's too long to think you're gonna die, bro.
And then when I hit it, not 30 seconds. Like I like walked into a hole and like.
Yeah.
I hit the bottom with my knee, like hit the floor, like.
Yeah, that's a lot, man. There's been moments like I was in the Frederic.
I never got a chance to go into that one.
Way up
the Friedrich.
Yeah, the Friedrich. I was like on the 3rd floor looking around, and there was amazing graffiti up there. And I was up there taking shots of graffiti, and I turned and looked through the floor, and then through the next floor. And I would my heart sank, man. I was like, bro, Like, I didn't even tell her where I was going. Like, nobody knew where I was that day. I was just out on my bike, and I was like, I think I'm going to swing by and see if I could get in. And got in, and then just, like, was going about my way, and then, like, froze on the third floor. Was like, I don't need to be falling through this. Yeah, I mean, who? Yeah, I definitely don't need that in my life. And so I started, like, I had walked through it so haphazardly, and then I was scared. So I was trying to backtrack and then realized the whole floor is Swiss cheese. I was like, oh, man, I think I made a mistake, bro. Like, so just going as gingerly as I could, 220 pounds trying to walk light, and it's like, man, if it's going to go, it's going to go. And then when I got down, I immediately started to calm down when I got to the stairs and everything and made my way out. But then whenever I got back and I checked out the photos, it was like, hey, it's, give and take. It's those moments that you're kind of afraid, or also those are moments that you're alive. You're like, oh, man, I kind of have something to be here for, and it's not the 9 to 5. It's not the fucking, I wish I was out of here grind. It's that, oh, man, I don't want to get fucked up here, and there's a reason. I got too many things to do. And then you realize what's important after you're scared shitless a little bit, and it's like, well, okay, double-edged sword. I mean, you got to go through that moment to get the positivity from it, but it's there, And I've had it in a couple of places, like climbing up outer rails on places, and then you hear stuff start to ting and pop. And you're like,
oh yeah, man, yeah. I've definitely I can't remember the name of the building. It's downtown. We climbed the fire escape outside. It was the Maverick. There we go. Before they built that hotel on the side.
oh, dang, that's a tall building.
We took the elevator to the top floor. The top floor, the window was open, so we just kind of went out the window, and we only had to climb one flight. But that's a scary little flight when your back is just kind of facing the world, and you're just like, oh, these little rails are holding me. What the fuck?
Yeah, man. Yeah, those fire escapes. I've been up a lot of those different fire escapes, and there's moments that you're like, this is who would trust this when they're panicking? Who would? I'm out here on my own free will. Nothing's on fire. I'm not trying to escape for my life. But if a whole ass load of people just poured out on it, it immediately becomes suspect. Yeah, there's a fire escape that was at an old book depository on Houston Street that I went into. They're remodeling it. Now they have, it's way harder to get into than it used to be. I found my way in there one day, was walking around and ended up on a fire escape, and it started to feel like it was separating. And while I was walking up it, I was watching the bolts bobble in and out. And I was like, there's probably a reason that this place is air quotes abandoned. Yeah. I get the whole push to be safe, but I don't always agree with we'll put you in jail if you're not safe. If you're here,
oh yeah,
and it's hey man, this is a victimless crime. If I fall and break my leg,
it's my fault.
It's definitely my fault.
Yeah,
I'll take the L on that one.
I remember one time I was in Lone Star with a bunch of homies. They were painting. We were in that one room where you're on the little catwalks. They're sitting there painting, and I look down and I see this kid running. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, hey, chill. So everyone's chilling. The kid's running. Then you see a cop on a bike.
Oh damn! And y'all are standing there just watching.
We're on the third floor. Yeah. They're all the way on the bottom, and it's just all shit.
Oh yeah. Man, let them run let them run it.
We just sat there, watched it all happen, and then we were leaving, and we were all walking. There's this point where we're all single file line, and I turn the corner and I see the cop, hemming up that kid, and I was just like, I stopped, and everybody just boop, 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 Scooby Doo. It was funny. We ended up hiding in there for about 45 minutes. I had to call someone to come pick us up. It was a good time.
That's what I was talking about earlier, man. The stories behind adventuring.
Yeah,
it's you wouldn't get that if you're sitting at home. You don't get that at. Well, you do get some wild stuff at a convenience store at night in San Antonio. There's some. I've seen some some really wild shit go down.
Man, I love it. There's the crazy 7-Eleven on Zarzamora and Culebra. My homie, Gemini Vato, he actually changed the character or the picture for that 7-Eleven, so it says like San Antonio, Grand Theft Auto San Antonio.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah, the meme that somebody put out there is like, "Hey, dear Jesus, I gotta stop and get gas now." And then Jesus is like, "Where you at?" And it's like Culebra and Zarzamora, and Jesus like got that inquisitive face going on, like, "Man, you might not make this."
Yeah, it got rough there over the years.
It's an overarching scenario, man. Like, there's a lot of places that used to feel not so foreboding going, you know? I mean, and even some of the places that are around San Antonio that are cultural icons, like the Hay Street Bridge. Now it's like, what time are you going to go? You know?
Man, I don't know if did you ever see that bridge before they like rebuilt it?
Oh, yeah, man. First off, it's like at your own risk.
Yeah.
Watch your step. Don't enjoy the view. Watch your step.
Not only that, most of those houses there were like totally different. Like,
oh yeah,
like you could walk around there, you can pick up some crack if you want some crack.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
That's how it used to be, and now like they're multi-million-dollar homes there, condos
Yeah.
everywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, I always want to see an upswing, but I always wonder where those people went. You know, displacing people and the whole. I don't want to call it gentrification, but there's a lot of that's happening, you know, and in a lot of places. Like Southtown used to be sketch, you know.
I mean, I remember people were surprised when someone got stabbed at like Southtown 101 a few months ago. But at the same time, it's like, yo, it's still the south side of San Antonio. Like,
for sure.
Just because it's closer to downtown, they gave it a pretty little label, don't mean it's not.
Yeah, and then a couple of art people moved in and stuff like that, you know. And you got some cool stuff going on down there, but there's still always that, you know. I mean, it's like a lot of the places that now have a fresh coat of paint were hardcore, and then people get surprised when hardcore shit happens, and it's like, man, the essence is still here. This is San Antonio, you know. And I mean, I've lived in a lot of places, but this place has a whole different hardcore vibe than a lot of places. And I mean, it's not like as violent as some of the more notable violent cities. It's more low-key violent, you know, like, just don't fuck up. There's that, you know, you don't know who you're looking at. Don't look too long. Mind your own fucking business, which I'm always cool with because that's what I do. I mind my own fucking business. I was out on the street with my camera one time and a guy was like, "What do you think you're doing?" And I told him, "I'm minding my own fucking business. What are you doing?" And you could see the gears turning. And was like, I was not expecting that. And he just shrugged and walked off. And I was like, yeah, man, that's all I do. I mind my own business. Yeah, don't have time. There's too many people that take things way too personally. You know.
Yep.
And for no reason. When we're all doing this weird little dance in this weird little place, trying to make it and get home so that we could sleep in our stupid little bed, you know, and get up and do it again the next day. And it's like, I don't want some dude like nutting up on me. You know, I mean, I'm just here to be cool, take pictures. That's it. And so when you play by the rules, it seems like you slide through. Like, I don't catch that much shit. I've heard of a lot of people catching shit. Like, last night's beef was one of the few times that I've been outside of my comfort zone in San Antonio. Most people just, like, don't give a fuck, man. I'm out on my bike or I have my camera. I look like I don't want to mess with you, and I don't want you to mess with me. I just mind my own business, and I move on, you know. And so you play by the rules. I mean, you got the neck
tattoo, man.
Yeah, and I'm right at 6'3". You know, I've had people walking up on me before, and like it does seem like there's sometimes that they're like, I'm gonna fuck with this guy, and as they get closer, they're like, wait, I might not be fucking with this guy. And it's like, no, please don't. Like, I just don't have time for that. You know, it's being a paratrooper for a long time, an infantryman. Like, I have a really hard time taking bullshit from people, but I also have a really hard time giving shit to people because I've been starting this whole over the last 5 years or so. I've been trying to cleanse my my mentality towards other people and put myself in other people's shoes whenever it comes to the golden rule, which is not treat others as you want to be treated. It's everybody has it rough. And then because of that, we treat other people the way that we want to be treated. But you have to look at everybody and go, I don't know what the fuck you're going through. You know, and so there's been times that I've been melting down in my truck, just having a terrible day, just freaking the fuck out. And then I'll get out and I'll go in and I'll get a Red Bull or do something and I'll be super cool. Just, hey, how you doing? Use great lingo. I'm doing outstanding. How are you doing? Outstanding. Let's go. Great. You know, shit like that. Then I'll get back in my vehicle and have a fucking meltdown. Because I don't know what that person's going through. And it's not up to me to go in and push my energy onto somebody that I don't know if their kid has leukemia, if they're about to get evicted, you know, going through a divorce, their best friend's fucking their wife, who knows, you know? And so you put negative energy and your static into somebody that's already got it rough. And the one thing that we'll never know is how many people we've caused to go and kill themselves.
Man, that got dark quick, bro.
Yeah, man. But I mean, life is dark. Everything about, man. You know, and I mean, so.
I mean, I feel that, man. Like, my big bro shot himself. And like, that was a whole, like, it felt like that was a 3-week meltdown.
Right.
I think he found his peace doing whatever he did.
Right.
Like, that's the only way I can make sense of that shit. So I'm pretty sure that's how he, like, made sense of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
well, life's hard, man. And whenever you don't see any hope, you know, I've been there. I've been at the very bottom. And when you don't see any light, nothing feels good, you know? And fortunately, I had a solid support system that didn't shy away from me melting down to nothing. You know, PTSD is a hell of a drug.
yeah, man. I've seen my mom go through it.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's super rough doing rough shit, you know? And then when you have time to reflect on it, that's when it gets really weird, right? And so I've always turned to art my whole life. I've been drawing my whole life. I started shooting photography with my dad when I was 9. You know, he would let me help him out in the his dark room and stuff like that. And so art has always been there with me in the darkest times. My mom was an addict for 12 years, and like that completely fucked my life up. You know, I mean, just like really bad. And so then here I go off into the war and continue to create, get out. And the first thing that I told myself when I got out was like, I've always wanted to go to art school. So that's what I did. I had no idea of what art school even was, didn't make good decisions, but I had the GI Bill and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And that's how I met her, you know? And so like just always chasing art was at least some bastion of light in this muck, you know? And so it was one of the few things that I could tangibly do that would help me expel any of the staticky bullshit that I had in my life and the fears of failure, ridicule, embarrassment, any of the shit that I felt from all the various things that I had done in my life. And I was like, fuck it, here's art. And then things got really weird for a while. And my dad moved to San Antonio to try to help me out. And I started getting out, doing street photography more again, and started like really chasing art again in a different way. Cause I have an art studio and I was in there drawing 10, 12 hours a day, but I was like a hermit, dude. Like I didn't want to be around it. People felt like sandpaper to me. Like I didn't want to hear other people's problems. It's like, bro, I want to die every day. Like I can't have a joyous conversation with you whenever I want to go stick my head in the bathtub. Like cool, but I can't be here for you because I can't be here for me. So I just cut everybody out. And that got kind of weird doing that. So my dad was like, well, let's just go hit the streets. It's just you and me. And so I started shooting more and shooting more and shooting more. and then slowly started doing it myself and was like, oh shit. And then like all of a sudden it's like, if I don't get out, I feel weird. And then I'm shooting every day, all day. Like there was times that I had like weeks of post-production backed up, and I was like, oh, I should be focusing on trying to turn this into something, but I don't care. Right now, going out and doing it, seeing other people without having to have those personal interactions was important to me. And then I started meeting people on the street, other photographers and homeless people. Like just getting to talk to the homeless people is a big deal to me, you know? And so it got to be where it was legit, not an escape. It was a legit, like, I'm trying to find the right word, therapy. It was like the best therapy that I could come up with. It was the best therapy that anybody could have had talked to me about or prescribed to me, which is getting out and meeting other people that don't have the same problems as you, but have problems, right? And then so whenever I start looking at how hard other people have their lives in relation to how hard I have my life, that's not so hard. You know, oh shit, I'm not digging through a garbage can. You know, I'm not fist fighting for a blanket. I'm not worried about a cop rolling up and putting me in jail because I don't have residency. You know, and then I started like really piecing together that there's real fundamental problems that go far beyond what I have. So let's start using my ability to capture moments eloquently as a tool to start showing other people that there are deeper problems. You know, and so trying to show beauty in chaos, right?
Yeah, man. I feel you on that one.
Where you can come up on a car wreck and you can see how chaotic it was. And the aftermath is this chaotic dance of trying to get people help, trying to get people cleaned up, trying to get cars off the road. And it's this weird dance that takes several people to do. And when you stand there and watch it, just even without a camera or anything, you watch it, you're like, there's something strangely beautiful about the way that this functions. You know, the same with a burning house. For whatever reason, it's strangely beautiful despite the chaos of what's happening to people's lives. There's other people that are taking time out of their lives to go and do this crazy ass dance to try to mitigate how dangerous that is and how much it's going to affect somebody's life. You know, if they're there 10 minutes later or they don't dance in an elegant way, somebody could lose everything.
Yeah.
Or everything could be saved, you know? And so like these minute movements that seem almost inconsequential turn into this very beautiful organic dance that humanity's doing. And so when you get to stand back in my position as a photographer and try to figure out how to look at those moments and find the peak beauty, and I miss a lot, but there are times that I go home because I don't double check. I shoot on my digital like I shoot on film. I just shoot and I go. I don't worry beyond my settings. Like, if my settings are good, the shot should be good unless I just sucked at it that time. You know, and then there's times that I get home and I wasn't expecting something and I'll be fist pumping around my fucking living room, man. Like, I got that. You know, and it's like when we were sitting and doing portraits, I don't look. And then whenever I went back after you left and I started looking, I was fist pumping and my daughter was like, no, those look good. And it's like, so I still get that exhilaration.
I love that fist pumping in the living room.
Hell yeah, man. Sometimes you just got to let it go, you know? Sometimes you hit something that you know, even if not a lot of people are going to see it, it carries weight. And if you make it, and then you go back and you show it. And you're like, I did that. And people are like, fuck, man, that's good. You know, it's the same reason I'll get a couple of feet away from a train because the image is the kind of image that you don't see all the time whenever you're talking about train shots. And then whenever you get it, it kind of gives you a little shudder and you're like, that's new, that's different, I've never seen that. And then it gives you that weird feeling. Like when you see something that you've never seen, or you see something that you've seen repeatedly in a way that you've never seen it, there is an excitement that comes with that visual. For somebody like me, like there's a lot of people that just scroll, right? They barely see the image, they still like it and they go. But
one thing I've been doing that I like is I'll take 4 shots of graffiti and I'll try and have like a bunch of cars pass by the whole time. And then it's just like zoom in, show another shot, zoom in, show another shot. You know what I mean?
right.
And just like different cars, different places. But the graffiti's still in the same spot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I like that. I like what you're doing too, because I check out your work all the time. You're getting into some crazy places, like people's fucking backyards and shit, because the tag culture here is so intense. People just...
I did have to get into a backyard. Nobody lived at the house, thank God.
But you're following a culture that is already fringe. You know, a lot of people really dislike graffiti artists.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're destroying someone's shit. Like, of course someone's going to get upset.
At times, you know, I mean, like, and I mean, I've followed a lot of graffiti artists and done things, and there's morality, you know, and everybody in everything has to find where their morality stands, you know, and so some people are like, well, fuck trains. I'm only going to spray trains because there's victimless. I don't give a fuck. They have enough money. It's a big canvas. And it gets all over the country. I'm cool with it, you know. And then some people are like, I'll spray the side of a fucking church. I don't give a fuck, man. And you're like, wow, man. Like, I don't look at your morality as being better or worse than somebody that'll go and do a train, or somebody that only wants to work on canvas. You just have a different set of personal rules that you're willing to go through to get your art out there, which is, I understand, because there's a lot of people that compulsion to create outweighs everything. There are people that have died over art, get shot doing graffiti. There are people that are in prison. There are people that are on parole. There are people that have lost their families, just for art, not just for graffiti, for all art. There are people that are so wired to create that's all they consume. You know, and I feel like that's myself a lot, and it doesn't matter what kind of creative. I do high level graphite drawings.
Yeah, I've seen your drawings. Your drawings are pretty killer, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Some of them will take 100 hours, you know, and it's like, to want to do that, you gotta tune a lot of shit out. You gotta tune a lot of people out. You gotta I don't have time for that. Hey, you want to go out? No. Why? Don't worry about it. You know, and then you're sitting there drawing a fucking eyeball for 6 hours, and you're like, is this better than interaction? Is this better than social interaction? And then when you get done, you're like, I don't give a fuck what I missed out on. Look at this thing. You know, but people have that, you know, especially in a world of plenty. When more people can create, we should have more avenues for people to create. And it seems like there's a lot of pushback on art a lot of times. Not music. Music's always socially acceptable and one of the most protected types of art that there is. But other art, everything else is whatever. It's so consumable. You know, your image, unless it's really devastatingly moving, it's just going to get consumed. You know, a photo, unless it really shows something that can really set emotions on fire, it's just going to get consumed. And then you start looking and wondering, why am I putting everything into this thing that's just going to get consumed? And then it doesn't matter. Every time I try to think about why, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters beyond experience, because we're only going to experience everything that we experience once. I
know, like I got these books, and when I'm doing my books, I fall into this zone where it's like, yo, I'm gonna get this done. Like, I'm gonna do this. I want to be able to hold my shit. Like, I want to be able to sell this. I want to be able to just show people that I'm doing something. Like, Like, I know when I get into that mind state, like, I can't turn it off. You know what I mean? Like, when you get that mission, you just got to go. Like, you got to get something done. Like, I think that's my favorite part of, like, doing photography, like showing it, like letting people see it. You know what I mean? See, like, what you've done.
Well, photography is the only way that anybody else can stand in your perspective. It's the only way that anybody could ever stand where you were standing and look at what you were looking at the way you were looking at it ever. It's the only way. No other way. I could draw what's in my mind, but it's what's in my mind. But I could take a photo of you right now and show everybody, and they'll know exactly how I was looking at you. And that's the only time they could see my perspective. So it's a real visceral thing whenever it comes to showing people photography. And I think it's why it's so compulsory to show for photographers. Like, I want somebody to see what I was looking at, even if they don't see why I was looking at it.
At least they can see what I was looking at.
100%. And then subjectively, they could come up with their own ideas or stories behind it, right? And so you're not in charge of the viewer's view other than giving them what you were looking at. So anytime I show, I share my work as much as possible without trying to overshare, but it's only so that they could see what I want them to see, but they're going to see it their way. Yeah. You know, and I'm not in charge of that. So, and that's something that I've learned is because I'll curate and I'll sit there and I'll bust my fucking brain apart on like, which image should I show? And then I'll be sitting on an image that I think is subpar, right? And then I'll show it, and fucking Canon USA will come out and be like, this is fucking dope ass shot, man. Like, they'll say something just super outlandishly kind about my work. And I'm like, this is like a throwaway shot for me. But other people view it in a completely different light. And so I've started to learn, like, well, fuck it, man. Like, the ones that I think are the best fucking photos, I'll put them out there, and it's crickets. It's like, nobody gives a shit about it. And so it only meant something to me, you know? And then I'll throw something weird out there, and all kinds of people be like, this is what's up. And I'm like, all right, okay, cool. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I stopped trying to figure out why and just accept that that's how it is. And cool, at least somebody appreciated something that I made. It doesn't matter if it's something that I feel is less than. You know, it's like I make dark art a lot, like with dark photography, and a lot of it's just featuring myself.
I like your black and white photography.
Thank you. Well, I mean, actually, like dark shit, like wrap my head in fucking plastic bags and all kinds of weird shit.
Oh, yeah, I like it when you do weird stuff too, man.
I appreciate that, man. And I've had people hit me up on the backside, and they're like, bro, this is a visual cue to how I feel. And I haven't been able to talk to my wife or my dad or whoever's important to them on how I feel. I don't have the words for it, but I could show them this. And I've had that dozens of times. And I'm like, man, that's cool. That's all that's there for. There's a lot of my, air quotes, mental health art that is a bridge between those who have and those who never will. There's a lot of people that'll never be touched by mental health, you know, and I mean, great. But there's a lot of people that are touched by mental health problems, and they don't have necessarily the tools or resources or the vernacular, the capacity to express to other people how they're feeling. So if my art in any way could show, hey, this is how I feel, and then it changes the game, because then somebody can see it, and it's this terrible looking photo, and they're like, that's how you feel? And it's like, yeah, that's how I've been feeling. And they're like, we might need to try to help you out. And it's like, cool, man. Like, so again, these things come up in me, and I feel the compulsion to create them, and I don't care beyond getting them out there. I do care that they help. I don't want anybody to get me wrong on that, but I don't care beyond dropping it for everybody. Like, once it's out there, cool. Do what you will with it. You know, I'm on to the next thing. I don't linger on projects unless it's like a long-standing project, like trying to get as many portrait photography sessions done, or getting out and scoping out different spaces. I do have projects that I have that are listed, written down, mental, like, I'm going to go to this place at this time to get a shot. Like recently, well, not really, like maybe 3 months ago, I got up at like 4 a.m. and we went and caught a bus. It was on Vance Jackson. There's that little Delview district, and they have that thrift store, and it has these crazy gnarly looking neon lights everywhere. It says thrift and all this shit. And I'd been telling myself for months, I'm going to go and get this shot, but it has to be super early or super late. And then happenstantially got up that morning and it was raining and we're riding the bus watching the rain. I was like, the fuck, man? Like the morning that I'm going to come out here. And I get there and the rain just stopped and there's puddles. So I'm getting reflection shots and all, and everything just worked out beautifully. It's like 4:30 in the morning and we're just messing around in this parking lot taking photos. All because I didn't telling myself for like 2 months, go do it, go do it, go do it, go do it.
Yeah, man, I constantly got to tell myself to do that. Like, yo, go take a picture of this because it's going to get buffed. Go take a picture of this because something's going to happen to it. Like,
especially with what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, that's very temporary.
Like, it's good to know someone will get up and go just take pictures of random parts of the night. I do the same. You know what I mean? Like,
sometimes it's the only time that allows for the mood that I'm trying for. So
sometimes I wish I would take someone with me because I'll be in some sketchy areas real late at night, and I'm just sitting there like holding my camera, like, oh fuck, like
doing that
these
life
crackheads go fuck me up.
That life talk for a second, like, man, what am I doing here? Is this worth it? You know, it's like when you find yourself on the side of a building or underneath a train, you're like, is this what I'm doing right now?
It's definitely, I've definitely done that a few times where I really like, yeah, you'll second guess your life choices at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I've definitely done that, man.
Yeah, that's, but I think that's also the antithesis of when you know you might be on the edge of beautiful creation. You know, whenever you're like, man, should I be? Because, you know, so many people quit right before the finish line. Before the finish line, they don't see it through. They get cold feet, or, you know, I'm tired of eating fucking ham sandwiches or ramen. You know, I'm not making anything out of this life. You know, and people, the whole song and dance that people do too, where it's like, you can't do this. That's one of the things that I can't stand about people is like, you won't make a living off of your photography. And it's like, who the fuck are you? Why would you tell people that? Who hurt you? Who took something away from you? When did you decide that you were going to give it up for the corporate cock? And then now everybody is going to fail, right? You know, and I mean, I've known more than one person that has looked right at me and be like, your drawings are great, but you're never going to make any. And it's like, what? Why would you tell that to a person? You know, I mean, there is a reality. If you're doing some doo-doo ass work, like, there are photographers out there, and I see them, and I want to support them, but it's like, do you, man? If you think you got it, you know, but you're not technically sound, nor do you have a direction or a style. There's people that just aren't good, you know, and
they don't got that eye.
They don't.
They got the equipment, but they don't got the eye.
100%.
I've seen a lot of that, and
I'm not disparaging them.
I don't tell them anything. It's not
exactly.
It's not my place. It's not my place to say anything because like they're not my friend.
Right.
Now, if that's one of my homies, I'm gonna be like, yo, you know what you could do to make this better.
Exactly. Constructive criticism, and so if I can't tell somebody something that's positive, I just keep my fucking mouth shut, and I'm like, hey, either you'll figure it out or you won't. And then like, there's some people that just like they blow up because they have some fucking half-cocked art. You know, it's like people like it. And it's like, well, this isn't really well thought through. Let's check this out, you know? And so I'm not there to tell people that they can't make it, ever. It's like, dude, if you work hard enough and you find your audience, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's really what it's about, finding your audience. Like, that's a tough one right there sometimes.
Yeah, especially whenever you have a unique perspective. Like, with what you're doing, somebody could actually get turned off because they don't like the person whose work you shot.
Oh, don't get me started. That's why I
and-
quit. That's why I don't tag any graffiti writers in anything I ever do anymore.
Right.
Like I quit doing that a long time
Oh
ago.
no, I can imagine, man. That it's a big.
I've had a lot of like people would just be like, "Oh, well, you're dry snitching. Oh, why do you support that person? Oh, why are you giving this person shine?" It's just like, yo, like I don't give a fuck why y'all are beefing anymore. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I don't fucking care. I'm just taking pictures of what I see.
Yeah, I'm a third
cool.
party over here.
Yeah,
you know,
like, you're not dragging me in this fucking beef. I've been drug into beef that I didn't want to be drug into. It was a whole fucking bunch of bullshit, and I'm happy. I'm ecstatic where I am right now. Like,
no, I'm glad that you can mitigate that where you're like, my art is searching for art. Beyond that, like, you guys deal with you guys because y'all are always gonna deal with you guys.
yeah, you guys are always gonna be pissed off at each other because so and so did this to so and so.
Correct. Or somebody went over somebody, or you know, and it's like that person went over you again in the 5th grade, guy. Like, you know, here we are in our 40s and you're still upset. You know, I mean, and that's a problem too, is that people can't relax on the beef. You know, and it's like,
yeah, man, I get it. I mean, everyone has their little reputations to uphold, but
and not everybody's gonna like each other. You know,
yeah,
and I mean,
man, I get it. I get it. I've lived it,
and
I'm just over it. Like,
100%.
like I'm up there with you, man. I'm getting to, you know, I want to be an old man, so I'm getting to be an old man.
Yeah, that's it. You know, and
I never thought I would be an old man. You know what I'm saying?
No, not at all. Whenever I was 25, I was like, dude, this is about the end of the run for me. I mean, I
Yes,
was in
bro.
Iraq and everything was all weird. You know, my friends were dying. I was like, oh, this does not have a shelf life. You know,
I
and
had
so,
it a little bit different than you, but
correct.
like,
You know, I mean, everybody
that's-
does,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter how your life was sketchy. If it was sketch and you thought, I'm not gonna make it through this, that's all that matters. You know, and a lot of people are living that reality for one reason or another, whether it's drugs or gangs or, you know, fucking war. It doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. If you're doing sketch shit, it could catch up to you at any moment. And then whenever you wake up and you're pushing 40 or you're 40 and you're like, damn, like, this feels good. Like, it feels good that I'm actually mentally maturing and I'm calming down and I now have more of a purpose lined out for myself, which is just trying to be cool. You know, it's like, the same thing with writers is the same things happening in San Antonio with photography. Is like there's so much behind the back talking and ghost support and lack of support, or hey, don't support that guy or he's a piece of shit or she's a fake, and it's like, yeah, y'all leave me out. And I think that's why I've had a hard time growing beyond the meeting cool people, is because I don't play the politics at all.
Exactly, man. Exactly, dude.
And
like,
so they look at me like, hey, man, what's up with you? And it's like, nothing. And that is that a problem with you? You know, like, I don't play politics.
Like, I know I like what I like. I like who I like. I support who I support. If I don't fuck with you, like, I just don't fuck with you. I'm not gonna say hi to you. I'm not gonna fake it.
Correct.
Like, I'm just like,
but I'm also not gonna diss you.
yeah, but I'm not gonna go.
I
I don't go out of my way to diss these individuals. I just live my life.
100%.
And I see them doing their thing, and you know, it's cool that they're doing their thing.
I respect everybody that gets out there and grinds.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody that's trying to get into galleries, everybody that's trying to sell prints, everybody
shit.
that's trying to do shit. It's like, cool, man, cool on you. You know, and I'll genuinely support everybody from afar. You know, I don't have to play games with people. It's like, if you're out there grinding, I support you. If that's where it stops, that's where it stops. If I don't say hi to you, if I don't shake your hand, if we're not cool, if we don't hang out on the weekends, if we don't go shoot together, that's zero personal. That's zero personal. I don't take anything personal. I just, like you, I like who I like. I know who I know. I fuck with who I fuck with. But everybody else, I'm definitely team, go, do, try to make something of yourself. I'm going to support you from here. You can stay over there. You know?
I like how you said that.
Yeah. I mean, some people need to stay over there.
Yeah, you're right. You're
but
right.
I'm not going to hate on you, you know, because I realize everybody's got it rough.
Yeah, man. Everyone has different experiences with everyone.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just how it goes. Hey, and speaking of galleries, I'm showing some stuff September 2nd, JoJo Dancers Gallery, upstairs at Blue Star. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm really excited about that.
No, that's rad.
I think I talked to him yesterday. I showed him the size of my pictures, and they're pretty big. They're canvases. I'll show them to you in a bit. I haven't shown these in town. I'm kind of excited. Actually, I'm really excited, man.
No, man. Anytime, like you were saying, showing your work, that's the antithesis of why we do it. You know, it's no matter what, as little ego as you put into it, or if you're grandiose, you know, it doesn't matter. You want people to see your work. You know, there's very few Vivian Mayers out there that are just hoarding their images and they only create to create. Now, I hoard 80% of my images, but I still put my work out there and I'm like, hey, I want people to see this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is my view of the world is my view. Now, there might be people that are similar to me, but nobody's got my ride. Nobody's got my view in this ride, right? I look at it like a carnival ride or a bus ride or a plane ride. Everybody's sitting in a different seat. It doesn't matter if you're A1, if you're A3, you got a different view, you know? And so everybody, you could be shoulder to shoulder with somebody and you're seeing it completely different. And so to be able to show somebody the way that you view this weird fucking thing that we're doing, it's pretty magical, especially when somebody gets it. You know, that's the real beauty of it, is you show it and then somebody goes, that resonates with me. And then it's like, man, you just made a mental connection with another human being, you know, and they feel something that you felt. Even if it's a little different, even if it's for different reasons, you just made a beautiful connection with another human being, even if you never know about it. If your shit's in a gallery and somebody stops and starts crying because of one of your pictures, that's a connection. That reverberates through. Yeah, it reverberates through everything that's going on, you know, and there's that, nothing can take that away from that connection. It's happened, you know, and so art has that connective tissue. It's a resonance, you know, and so when you look at all the great societies, the explosion of art that happened at the pinnacle of these societies, it was magical connections that was happening just endlessly. So we're in a really fruitful time. We're just misusing it through social media, and now it's getting consumed. So there's fewer of those connections because of the speed which people want to try to connect. It's a lack of true connectivity, and it's mass connectivity. And so whenever I get to sit and talk with somebody like you, we have this visceral connection that's happening right now that is far more palpable and real than any back and forth that's going on Twitter right now.
Oh, yeah, man, of course. I like sitting down and talking. Like, a month of not doing this kind of fucked with me. I ain't gonna lie.
No, I get you, man. Like, I really get you, because this is one of the steps that I've wanted to take. I really believe in some of the things that I have to say.
Uh-huh.
And
Well, I mean, you got a lot to say.
yeah, I mean, I've had a really weird ride, you know, and weird rides, for better or for worse,
Yeah.
usually tend to build somebody's ability to talk more about what it is that they need to talk about. It all comes with confidence too, you know. It's like, I don't necessarily worry about what anybody's gonna feel about my thought process.
Yeah.
You know, just like I don't worry about what people are gonna feel about my art. So I'm a little bit, you know, in the Wild West of just sling from the hip, you know, and like wherever it lies, it lies. So if people buy it, they buy it. If they don't, you know, I mean, whatever. But I do appreciate being able to talk with somebody that doesn't just want to bullshit. You know, that's my big thing. Is that the older I get, the more meaningful I want my conversations to have.
Bro, yes, man.
You know,
Yes,
and
man.
so it's the same with who do I fuck with in my art world. You know, it's the same, who do I spend time talking to? It's like the people that I want to talk to, the people that bring the most out of me, and then I can grow.
Yeah.
You know, I can grow just from this conversation. I can go home and...
I mean, we've had a good conversation. We've gone on for an hour and 9 minutes.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And it feels totally organic. It's just smooth. And
I mean,
that's
it's just two guys shooting shit.
pretty
At the
much.
end of the day, like...
Yeah, you know, and...
Like, I kind of know you, and, like, sitting down with you this past hour, I feel like I know you a lot better now.
And I feel like I know you a lot better, too. And it's there's a comfortability that comes with just saying, yo, fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it out there. You know, and then,
yeah. Yeah, man, I don't like to edit any of these unless I really have to.
It's like, oh, that might be incriminating. When you,
I mean, I don't care anymore. Like,
That's a
I'm trying to get
liberating
my video up soon. I'm getting a computer soon so I can get my videos up again. Because I have my web cameras. I just need to set them up and do all that. It's all a process. Like,
No, and that's art in itself, dude.
This is all like, I'm not in a rush to perfect this and make this look fucking.
Well, even if you know, it's like we were saying about the equipment. You could have all the equipment and go out there and have a doo-doo eye.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't, so you could have everything here that you want and set up and not have the organic structure already set in place, you know? And so making the mistakes on a lower level and knowing how to mitigate those mistakes.
I just like it. Like, I like for the people that, you know, listen to whatever, can see the progression, you know,
For real.
they can see that I started like just doing audio. Every now and then I'll get some video. Every now and then I'll try and do the video myself. It ain't that great.
No, I mean, that's part of it. Like we were talking about stories, you know, that's part of the story is people, the same as my van project, you know, for whatever reason, some of those videos that I got have 11,000 views. And I'm like, who the fuck cares that I put insulation in this van? You know, apparently enough people, you know, and it's one of those things, again, I'm not in charge of who likes what or why. I'm just trying to put a little bit of me out there so that people understand that, you know, the reason I'm putting myself out there on this project specifically is because I'm selling everything, throwing everything away, and putting very little in storage to make this happen for myself. I'm not one of these people that had a fat bank account, had a job, had a house, and decided I want to do this. Is something that I've wanted for a long time, and I'm painstakingly making it happen. It hasn't been easy, but it has been completely worthwhile. And so in order to show people, hey man, you might be scared to pull the trigger on this, or you might not have fucking infinite resources. My resources are finite every week. I have a budget and I cannot go beyond, and I do what I can, and then the next week comes and I do what I can until I move into the van. And it's not even going to be done. It's not even going to be done. It's going to be done enough to where I can get to Florida and then finish the build there and just have a safe space in my dad's backyard to use and then go. And then we'll continue on. You know, I mean, it's in phases, but I want people to know that, like, it's not so scary to chase down what it is that you want to do, whether or not you want to build a kick-ass podcast booth and just fucking sit down and rap with people. You know, that's cool, but you have to want to do it, and you have to know I have finite resources. This is how I'm going to take on this task, and this is how I'm going to make the most of what I've got without complaining about it. You know, that's people that whole adage, the people that can't do teach. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing. People that can't do bitch. You know, again, you could have all the equipment that you want, but if you don't know how to have a congruent conversation with somebody, you don't know how to give somebody the chance to talk. You just can't converse well. Yeah. You're not going to make it.
Yeah, of course.
There's no amount of equipment that's going to fix that. You know? Yeah.
Well, shoot, man, let's go ahead and wrap it up. It's about that time. they want to see the project, the van project, how do they see that one more time?
That's a Vagabond Travel Photo, VAGABOND.travel.photo.
And if they just want to follow like any of your photography pages, I know you got a few of them.
If any, I do have a few. If you want to check out any of them, the easiest way is to search Denman, DENMON. I'm pretty much the only Denman on Instagram, myself and my dad. So if you see a Ron Denman, that's my pops. But yeah, it's like c.denman_bw.photo.
Now that's the one I see you post more on, right?
That's the one that's my main go-to because I want to break out into fine photography and do stuff. So that's the mostly the street work or ornate stuff that I take. It's a little bit more palpable than the dark art or any of the weird shit that I do. And so if people want to start like light, and I love black and white, it strips away the color and gives more of the story more often. So I try to promote my black and white work because that's who I feel I am the most. So if people want to check that out, that's cool too. You know, but yeah, if you just type in Denman, oh yeah, Nina pops up too because she's one of the few Denman that's on there. So she's there too. But yeah, and got a couple of places. I'm on Twitter too. You know, so again, just C Denman. Yeah, easy to find me. Yeah, I didn't make it like an enigma or anything.
Well, if you sat and listened this long, I really appreciate you. Shout out Gemini Vato. Shout out Lil Elephant. Have Character Printing. Uncle Cappy, when you dropping that hat. Well, I really got to use a bathroom.